rest of it. Who's to say you can't just get a chair that it doesn't have to be literally like full on, hard metal or whatnot and hard plastic or whatnot. There are ways round it, I believe, where it can still look as crazy as it is. It's the same thing I think with blood as well. I don't know what you think about that, Matt, but I think that's really something that's lost in WWE, especially in these Hell in a Cell matches. Like, I don't think they should be having those kind of matches nowadays, because without that, it makes it look sort of like a bit of a mockery. I mean, they let sort of some guys do it, like The Undertaker and Brock at sometimes, and they seem to be able to get away with it. But for the most part, there's without colour, it does take a lot away from the match. And I think when you think about it, when you think about the risk, okay, we've gone past the stage now of sort of like cutting people. So now we use, kind of propped blood, which, the risk of that is nothing, quite frankly. But again, because of the PG rating, they just can't do it. But I mean, it's ridiculous considering what they're doing to each other on the outside of the ring and in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, blood is actually the least part. And I guess when you watch things on TV, there's always that stuff on TV shows, like through the day sometimes. So it's one of those things. I really do think it's missing, though, especially in those sort of brutal kind of matches where it needs to be there, for sure. And it does add so much to it. What do you think about that, Matt?
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I mean, I think the whole blood aspect is a bigger issue than the chairs, because they still do use a steel chair. Usually they soften them up in the gut and then hit them across the back. I can't really say I've noticed too much. Like when I'm watching a match, they pull out a steel chair that when they hit them with it, I don't go. I mean, of course, it probably would be more impactful to do that, but I don't really question it too much. But with the blood, yeah, I do question that a lot more, though, because like you were saying about these steel cage matches and the Hell in a Cell matches, they go on about how these are the most evil matches that you can have in the WWE, and you look back and they show you all the videos of the past, and you see people bleeding, how brutal it is, and then you watch the up-to-date ones, and and they just like falling their back into it a bit, and you're thinking, well, yeah, it might hurt, but it's not. You could even, if you was going to try, you could attempt to stay inside the ring, and minimise the effects of this match. But yeah, having a bit of blood in it definitely leaves the image in your mind a bit more. Like if you think about that match with Bret Hart versus Steve Austin in the submission match, without that blood, that match would not have had one of the most iconic images in wrestling.
Yeah, and again, what's interesting about that is when I read Bret's book, he said in it that him and Austin basically took it upon themselves to do that. They were never given permission to do that spot, but they said they really needed it to make it that much more realistic, and they just went ahead and did it. And they kind of they used the blade and whatnot, and they tried to sort of say to Vince it just happened by accident, but in Bret's book they say they both basically said beforehand that they were going to do it. It's funny, Matt, isn't it? Because some guys, they just let them get away with it. Like, I mean, you look what happened with Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton at SummerSlam. He's laying in thick elbows to the guy's head. And that was a legit cut. So it's fascinating how in the PG era, sometimes some guys just get a pass, which is kind of so inconsistent with everything, and it makes everybody else look kind of terrible, doesn't it? Really, that's the problem with it. I thought that was it. I thought that was it. Then is that it?
It was. Yeah.
Oh my God! I was going to say it was definitely a freak out.
With the Bailey to belly, I believe.
Yeah. Well, incredibly, Rikishi's through. Didn't see that coming.
And Trish has had a fair old outing tonight, hasn't
she? She has. She looks like she's going to have another fair old outing here.
Oh, not the stick.
Poor old Rikishi. Oh, now where's he? No. He's dragging her now, isn't he? So that's can only mean one thing. And of course, Rikishi, father of the Usos, of course.
Okay, he's going to do something very.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect this. Gotta be honest with you. Surely not. No. Oh, here we go. So now Rikishi's going to be battered up even more now for the finals. They seem to really want to play into that, don't they?
Yeah.
So I've got to be honest. I know the winner it is, but then again, I didn't expect Rikishi. It was Rikishi in the finals here. I really didn't.
No,
So
I can't say I remembered that at all.
no. So it shows you where
You know,
he was on WWE's radar at the time. You know, maybe they were looking at this guy as a big main event guy. And Val Venus is just about using everything here. Trying to make this look really, really authentic, isn't he? To get this one over.
Will he make it to the final then?
Well, Val Venus not happy. He leaves, but he gets the last laugh. And Rikishi even more torn up than he was to start with. The replay of the still steps. There you go. Matt's talking about the chair. That's his arm. Which means, as we see on our King of the Ring playoff tree there, Rikishi is in the finals. And again, I don't remember him in the finals, but there you go.
On the plus side, like at least Rikishi can take solace in the fact that the person who fights next in the King of the Ring will have a shorter recovery period than he does.
Yeah. Now, why is Gerald Briscoe being interviewed now?
Well, it's suspicious, isn't it? I mean, what did we see with Pat Patterson earlier? Now we see Briscoe, and they're not in the same room. And I hope there's not going to be a fight between these two guys.
Oh God. Who knows? They were, of course, the sort of stooges back then, weren't they, for Vince McMahon quite a lot. Quite comedic characters, these two. Kind of enjoyed them for a while. Never knew what they were going to come out with. Very young, Jonathan Coachman. Good grief. I said it before.
Oh, no.
So it looks like they've got to go out in dresses, whatever it is.
Some sort of evening gown match.
There you go. Joe Briscoe not looking too happy. What on earth is this? Is this one of those old commercials that I've completely forgot about? Okay.
This is very bizarre.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. The relaunch. There you go. WWF.com. Not sure they'd do that sort of advert now, would they? For a relaunch.
No, that one didn't even make sense.
So Crash coming out again with the scowls. The cap on back to front.
Yeah, little Elroy Jetson.
Yep, as if we didn't already know, the semi-final. Yeah, there was a sign there. Just saying that.
See, I'm expecting this to be a better match than it seems to be on paper.
Yeah, you'd assume so. Depends, I guess, what style they end up working, but you would assume so. I just love it how Kurt's sort of like oblivious to everything that fans don't like him, but he's he's like smiling and.
There's certainly 4 guys in the front row with Kurt written on the
I was trying to work that out earlier. It's true. So yeah, he definitely had his fans. Despite he was a heel character at this point, no doubt about that.
It's an interesting choice to turn him heel, wasn't it, really, when you consider, people had to give him respect that he went out and did win that gold medal for his country.
Yeah, I wonder if he would have been I think he was always going to be successful, but I wonder if he'd have got as fast up the ladder if he didn't start as a heel or he was just a baby face. how difficult that might have been, because I think it works at the beginning, but then there comes a stage where fans feel like you're sort of throwing it down their necks again. But if you're a heel, it's different because you can get away with that, and if you do get any support, it's a bonus, isn't it? Out of that, and I think that's probably what definitely happened with Angle. Actually, it looks like these guys are going to actually work a decent pace here and a decent style. Looks like
it's pretty fast at the gate, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. See Crash Holly now. If I would have been watching this live, I would definitely have gone with Angle at this point, despite.
I mean, I would have. I no disrespect to Crash's skills, but I think at this point we'd seen enough of Kurt Angle to know that he was destined for like the heavyweight title picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always felt he was destined for the top. I just never knew how quick it was going to be to the top.
I remember watching that Armageddon Hell in a Cell. I was so shocked that he won that. I was looking at all the talent in that ring and all the top guys that WWE had and all of their best ones. They even had The Rock, Austin, and everyone in there. And then he won, and I was like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Yeah, is that one where Rikishi comes off into the sand bit?
He was in there as well, wasn't he? Yeah.
Who's coming out here? I can see the audience are looking at something. What is that? What are they all fascinated by? Is that something that shouldn't have happened? I have no idea. Something's taking attention. Not sure what that was. I definitely thought someone was coming out then. Why everybody just sort of stood up. It's kind of cool. I think this is good to see. Like definitely do see the other side of Crash, that he can keep up the pace with someone like Kurt Angle when he needs to go.
I guess we see the commentary team's like a two-man team this night, isn't it? The King and JR. Do you reckon that formula was a lot better back then, just two men?
Yeah, I always prefer just two. Interesting, because I was listening to JR's podcast actually a little bit earlier today, and he was talking about that, and he was actually saying like you think of how many is on SmackDown currently. Poor old Morrow. It's like, how can you, like he said, how can you actually get yourself out there when you've got to divide it so much? It's kind of crazy, really. I definitely prefer the two-man team. I think there's room for a colour and then your play-by-play guy. And I think that formula seems to be the one that works best, going back a long time now. Then I think when there's three, I mean, I remember when they done it with Vince, JR, and Lawler, and that wasn't too bad, but but then those three were so different from each other that probably worked out quite well. But I mean, when you got like, I always feel like one just doesn't do enough sometimes, and there's always one left out. As we see Angle going through there. It's kind of a quick match there. Yeah, it was a quick finish, and sort of come out of nowhere, wasn't it, almost, for him?
Yeah, it's like a stun gun into the Angle Slam.
Wow, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, you see. Politics as well. Shouldn't forget that Donald Trump is also a WWE Hall of Famer. Hang on, look, I said Jerry Lawler gets involved. He's involved here. Put some audio on for this.
Who's your favorite superstar? Well, I think other than you, I have to go with The Rock.
Well, there you go. That could set up the next presidential kind of election.
They should play that scene when The Rock is going for the next one when he wants to get in. They should show that. They'll set it up nicely. WWE, they could get involved in this. And I said Jerry Lawler gets involved with stuff. Well, there you go. There's his moment in this one. You know, not only is he there, but he